100%. And that's why from when I started, my goal is to play 10 years. That's my minimum, right? 10 years says a lot about the person. It says they understand how to stay relevant in the game when the young guys come in. They understand how to eat right. They understand how to communicate and, not be seen as a negative, person in the locker room, good teammate. There's all these things that come into it. He also knows how to take care of himself, right? That's why I kind of want to hit the 10-year mark, because that truly means that maybe I figured it out. Not saying I haven't yet. I still think I'm learning, and each year as much as I can, I'm learning. But from me when I was in 2019, I've learned exponential amount about being a pro and about how to manage myself, take care of myself, so that these injuries don't happen. So
right.
Step into the world of FC Game Changer, the football club that will change your game. We want to help boost your mindset, strength, and nutrition. A potent trio capable of completely transforming both your football performance and your overall life.
The way we play it, the way we say it.
With a new expert every month, including strength coaches, nutritionists, football coaches, former and current footballers. We are dedicated to sharing knowledge and skills for the next generation of footballers, allowing you to become the best footballer you can be. Thanks for joining us today. Now, let the game begin.
What is going on, Game Changers? Today, we had the pleasure to speak with Akeem Ward. Akeem is the first ever professional footballer that we have here on our FC Game Changer show. Akeem shared with us all the tips and tricks to stay mentally strong and also physically strong in order to sustain the professional level. Also, Akeem told us what he had to do and go through in order to achieve the professional level that he always wanted to achieve. He's here to tell you step by step on how to get there. It is not easy, as he shares. It is a tough and hard journey in order to get to the professional level, but also to maintain himself in that professional level. So I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Watch until the end. Peace. Akeem Ward, welcome to the show.
Hey man, appreciate you, Mondo. It's good being here, man. It's good being here. Appreciate you having me.
For sure. So I just wanted to take us back when you first started. When did that passion for the game of football start for you?
It started before I could remember, to be honest. Like my parents always told me, like, I was at 3 and 4 kicking a little ball around or like chasing it around, and so like it kind of started there. But it can go even further back. Like my parents are their descent and the roots. Like my mom's from England, my dad's from Jamaica, so it's kind of rooted in the blood. But all it took is a ball at a young age, around 3 or 4, and then from there kicking around, enjoying a little mini ball, and then kind of the love for the game flourished there, and it just has grown since then. So
yeah, and as you got older, obviously you kept up with it. Mm-hmm. Did you always know you would ever become a professional footballer?
It's hard to say that you like always know, but it was just like that was plan A with plan B for me. Like it was like that was the option, right? And that was what I was going to kind of will into my life. And I remember being a kid dreaming about it. I remember it being a kid just working hard at it and like continue to improve and see the results. And especially as a kid, you can see your growth, exponential growth very quickly. You know? And so that added to the confidence. Like, okay, I'm like, hey, I'm actually getting better. Like there's, I can actually accomplish being a pro. I think around 13, 14, I was like, okay, this is serious. I can do it.
Mm-hmm. That's the reason why I asked that question, because I think, first of all, a lot of kids, they're already, they say it's impossible. That blocks them from achieving, a very, I know it's not easy, I can say that for myself, and obviously you've made it. It's not an easy thing to do, and even harder to maintain yourself at that level, right? So I just want, kids, especially like great footballers that we see, don't get defeated. There is a way. And I like what you just said in terms of like seeing those, results and that motivating yourself to keep on going. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay. So then now, did you go through, high school and then club, and then how did that work with you?
So with me, I have such a crazy journey from around. So in Virginia, I played mainly youth soccer in Virginia and Maryland as well. Like it was between both. And that's where kind of most of the youth was in Virginia. And then, I found a better club in Maryland that I was like, okay, like it's a bit further. My mom was like, it's a bit further, but like it's worth it. So like, first off, thank my parents, because not everyone's exposed and has the parents or has the ability and the resources to be able to play at better clubs. So like that put me in an environment, for starters, that allowed me to grow and be around players better than me, as good as me, and that had the same passion for the game. And so like that's important, right? Like who you surround yourself with. And then we kind of fast forward to I ended up going and playing an academy. I was in the Virginia area. I played pre-academy for DC United U14. Didn't pan out how I wanted to, kind of got overlooked, which is cool. It happens. That's a setback. So I ended up going to boarding school in Minnesota and playing an academy out there called Shattuck St. Mary's. And that's where everything changed, like completely turned around for me. Like being away from home, not having my parents to like reassure me of things, to coddle me. I had to grow up. I had to learn how to do my own laundry. I had to be able to do studies at school by myself. No one was telling me what time to go to sleep. No one was telling me to do my homework. And like, I believe the school soccer aspect is very important. Like it allows you to understand discipline on both sides of things, right? And so I ended up doing that for 4 years. And there, like, I was able to I had the resources I needed to train all the time, to hit the gym, to be around players way better than me that were hungry, that had better opportunities to go pro. And like it gave me something to shoot for, and it was tangible for me to see, what it took to like, or also for me to see like what I was doing in the past wasn't enough. Guys are always doing more than you, right? And people always say that, but I didn't see that until I got there. That, okay, guys are actually doing more than me, like, and it's contagious. You can either be like, oh, I'm not going to do that, I don't need to, or you can be like, yeah, let's go, I'm going to work with you.
Exactly. And
you kind of grow and get better from there. Was able to do that for 4 years, and I'll talk more about it later. But kind of why also it helped shape who I am, and why I kind of attest going there to why I'm still a pro. But after that, I took the college route. Like, of course, I would have wanted to go pro, but that wasn't in the cards there at the time. So I took the college route. I actually went to an NAI college called Hastings College. It was supposed to be for 2 years. Not many people know this. It's supposed to be for 2 years, but I ended up spending a semester there, God willing.
Oh, wow.
Then I transferred into Creighton University, where I spent my next 2.5, 3 years, graduated early, and then got drafted. And so like that was like kind of how it rose up through the ranks. So I was on the East Coaster who just got thrown into the coldest winters possible in Minnesota, and then got a chance taken on me, and I took my chance and went to a smaller school at first, and then transferred to a D1 college that was like known for sending guys to the pros. That was one of my main reasons going there. Like, they are established coaching staff that has pros go like to different levels every year, and I'm like, that's something I like, and so that was a part of the reason I went there. School was very good as well, but I always never took my eye off of just being a pro and how to get there, and so that's kind of the wavy route I took to get there.
Oh my God, there's so much to unpack in everything you just said right now. Okay, so first of all, going back to who you surround yourself with. So again, going back to kids at that same age that you were back then, why do you think that yourself were able to pick that up and be like, you know what, these guys are better than myself, and that serve you as a motivation to keep going and work harder than you were before? Where does that come from? Family, mom, dad?
I think it's just, yeah, I think it's just, sorry to cut you, I think it's just instilled in me because like, both my parents, immigrated over here and they didn't have the easiest lives where they were. And, people come to America to make better lives. So, that comes with hard work. That comes with being resilient. That comes with being self-aware, right? So, I think that was instilled in me young, but also kind of who I surrounded myself and the different experiences that I went through were kind of what shaped me and kind of led me to get into a position when I did notice it. I was like, hey, like, whoa, like this guy is going from school, before training, after gym, then he eats, and then he does something else more, and then he's waking up before class here, and I'm like, dude, I'm sleeping in, and I'm wondering why I'm not getting the results from the game. I'm wondering why maybe I'm not playing, and he's doing well, and like, he's figured something out that I clearly don't know, and so I'm like, let me just hang with him for a little bit, or surround myself with him and see what's going on. Next thing you know, it becomes contagious, like being positive, wanting to work hard. And then next thing you know, you're bringing in more guys and you have a solid core group of guys who just wants to work hard. And that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, that's the message right there, because I feel like there are the kids that will do what you did, but there is also a massive amount of kids that will be like, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. And because of that, I'm not willing to keep going and push myself in order to, become a professional footballer. It's weird. So that's great that you're saying that, because, that led you to become who you are, to go as far as you're going right now, to accomplish the goal, which was to become a professional footballer. So I really like that. Again, I think that kids watching, listening to this, it might click for them. It's like, there are ways. So look around, see who you're surrounding yourself with, and try to become that. Don't be like, I can't do this, or I'm not gonna do that. Just, this is super, super good. So now that I was not aware about the NAIA school, what was what made you choose the NAIA first to then maybe get transferred over to a university?
So the stories I've been telling are crazy. So this one's even crazier. What betting on yourself is, and it looks like. So what I was, before then, just to even give context of like why I was in a situation for NAIA. Once again, not saying NAIA is bad or anything like that. Come against some of the best players I've ever played against in NAIA.
Yeah.
Right? So me, I was always told D1, obviously D1. And so like that was my main focus. Cool, like that's what I wanted. And junior year, I ended up we'll talk future about injuries, but I ended up breaking my ankle and had surgery, played in 6 weeks, put in my ankle, season done, set me back like almost a full year, right? Confidence problems, all that stuff. And so I ended up spending an extra year in high school. Which is called so because of my high school, I was allowed to take what we call a postgraduate year because I was still eligible to play academy.
I see.
So I spent an extra year there. I literally graduated, and I took pretty much like college algebra, other classes that weren't like really necessary, stuff that I was interested in, and basically like use that year to like just improve and get better, and just like. But at that time, all of my offers from D1 disappeared because I was hurt. And whether people believe it or not, college soccer is, and how they recruit is kind of how like it is in the pros. If you're hurt, it's next man up. And I learned that quickly. Okay, so like all these schools, and I had Wake Forest, they were looking at me, UCLA. Next thing you know, you get hurt and you can't go to that showcase, you can't play. Hey man, there's other players are looking at you.
A lot of them, yeah.
Exactly. And so for me, like in the Midwest, we always had a showcase, and Creighton used to always come out there and have that showcase. And then next thing you know, 2 of my best friends from the school ended up, committing to Creighton. So both of those guys were there. And so the NAIA school was in Nebraska, just like Creighton. And I was talking to Creighton. They're like, "Hey, we like you, but we don't think you're good enough." And I was like, "Oh, okay, nice,
Yeah,
sure." And so they were like, "But we have a good relationship with this school, an NAIA school, and we recommend you go there for 2 years because everything's verbal. You go there for 2 years, and then after we think you're ready, you'll transfer in to Creighton." And there was nothing signed. There was no paperwork, nothing. All word of mouth and just like me taking their word on it. That's it. It was it.
That's
and
crazy.
So I was like, okay, cool. Their coach came out and saw me. Like I looked at the school, everything, and I was like, okay, we're gonna go for it. So I committed there, and everyone was so confused, and I was like, to me, like it was sound. It was never like, okay, like this is a terrible situation. I was gonna make the best of it, and it was supposed to be 2 years, and God willing, they came calling after my semester I played there. I literally played the season, and then I got called into the office from the coach, and the coach is like,
Creighton.
"Hey, like Creighton wants you now." Like the Hastings coach called me. He's like, "I don't want you to go." I'm like, "No." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Yeah, Creighton's calling. They want you to transfer there now." I'm like,
wow.
This semester, the spring? He's like, "Yeah, you're gone." I'm like, this was supposed to be 2 years.
Right.
I'm prepared for 2 years, right? Like that's what they said. So I went off 2 years, but it was one semester I was there, and
so one season you played one season with that school, and that was it.
I played the season, and then that was it. I was gone in the spring to Creighton. Literally there for like 4 months, 4 or 5 months, and then I went to Creighton.
That is crazy. And you were all planned out to be there for the 2 years. You're not expecting anything.
In my head, I was ready to be there for the 2 years. Like, yeah, they said 2 years. They never signed an agreement for 2 years. It could have been longer. They could have never came. I could, you know what I'm saying?
That's
so
crazy.
I kind of spoke to them throughout the year. They said, "We're going to send someone to go watch you." They didn't do that. It just was like, it wasn't happening. So I was just like, I was trusting the coach because he's like, "I'm going to keep a constant communication with the Creighton staff." And so I was trusting the Hastings coach. And like, I did everything I was supposed to do. I played. Like, I made a great bond with the guys. It was great. I liked the guys, and then I got the call up, and I was like, "Wait, what? You guys said 2 years?" And I was like, "I'm not gonna ask any questions." Like,
no, yeah, I committed, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a really big thing. They're like, "Bro, like you're going to Creighton now." Like, all my teammates, they are super happy for me and Juice, and I was like, "Wow, that's cool." Like, not everyone's always happy for someone else, like
Yeah,
and
totally.
And so I was super grateful. I still have some of those friends now that I talk to, and like the guys from the team, and even though I knew them for like 4 or 5 months, I still can, connect with them and stuff like that. And it was a really good experience for me. And it also just helped me believe and trust in the process of things.
Exactly.
And you can even tie that into, how you improve and stuff like that, because, hey, you don't know what's going to happen unless you give your best and, you trust.
100%. Be always ready, right?
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, that's insane. That's crazy. So now, okay, so now you're at Creighton. So you played how many seasons there? 3 seasons, 4 seasons?
I played 3 there 3 seasons.
3 seasons.
3 seasons, yeah. And I ended up graduating early in 2018 in the fall. Yeah, so I was able to get drafted. Yeah.
So how was Creighton in terms of, not just the school, but the program, the soccer program?
The program was very good, especially when I got there. And this leads to, the ego of me, a kid coming from the Hastings school thinking, "Oh, okay, I've made it now, I'm here." When I transferred in, they just had lost in the Elite Eight, right? And so, and they'd been ranked number 1 in the country for 6 weeks. So they were like, it was them. They were the team, And so I went in there thinking, "Oh, this is great, cool." Head coach at the time was Elmar Bolovich, and the assistant coach Johnny Torres. Johnny Torres currently is the head coach now. I'll speak more about him later, but he's one of the guys that kind of I can attest to why I'm you know, a pro and still a pro and stuff like that. Me and him had a great relationship. Loved the guy to death, his family and everything. But the program was known for getting guys to the pros. The program was known for, you know, playing an aggressive type of football. The press, run, like that was what, you know, I signed up for. And I was like, I was cool with that. You know, like there's different ones where like Wake Forest is always going to play, you know, Stanford's going to be strong. If they have to learn top, they're going to play ugly, you know, UVA is going to defend for 90 minutes. And so like there's different playing styles and stuff like that. And so it fit my playing style. It worked. The pressing, the running, it worked. But overall, the program, like, I think it did a good job of blending American players and like foreign players. Like, decent amount of foreign players, and I think that also like helped me understand the different aspects of football, like being an American and being around guys from different countries, where it's like, hey, like I feed my family with this, or like, hey,
right.
I've been learning this technical aspect of how to hit a ball at the age of like 6 when I'm learning at 19, or like it's just like it opened my eye to the different cultures of football, and I really like that. Like to this day, I know it's super invaluable. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. No, that's cool. One of the things that I'm thinking about is like that transition now that you're making from Creighton to the pro level. I'm gonna ask you about what were the adjustments that you had to make, but also what would you say the main differences are when it comes to playing D1 college in the US versus the pro level?
So for me, the adjustments, and like, I guess one answer would be like one of the adjustments that it took, and the difference is like everyone's not best friends. Like they're thinking like, hey, we're all cool now. Like we're all cool. Like we're good. We're this or that, and like that was naive young Akeem, thinking that, you know, everyone's going to be chill with everyone, cool with everyone. That is not the case.
That's not the case at all, huh?
That's not a bad thing, because I've gotten older now and understand. But you know, some players deal with it, you know, worse than other players. In the sense that some guys maybe, you know, are less likely to talk to younger players or want to interact with younger players and stuff like that. And in college, everyone's cool. Everyone goes out after a game. Everyone hangs out. Everyone knows so-and-so's girlfriend. Everyone knows it. Well, but when you get to the pros, this guy has 3 kids and a wife. He doesn't want to hang with you later. Like, he's got to go down with his kid. Like, he doesn't want to hear you talk in the morning because he maybe didn't get enough sleep because he's had a new baby. And like, there's all these different nuances and aspects that you maybe don't understand coming in, because you're like, there's a lot of information and a lot of different emotions. You're like, yo, I'm happy to be here. Like, this is great. Like my dream is finally being realized. Like, I just want to soak up all this information and knowledge. And even though you think that's like great, you feel like it's great. Maybe it's not perceived as such, you know?
So that's so interesting.
And so that's something I had experienced when I was at BC. Like, you know, like I was trying to be like gain information, knowledge, kind of do what I did in, you know, high school, and like latch onto someone and try to learn and stuff like that. But that was seen as like potentially annoying. And so it's like, it's different things that you have to learn in different periods of your career, you know. And maybe I was trying to get connected with the wrong guy. Like and at BC, I ended up connecting with the right guy, one of my best friends now, Quincy Amarikwa, and like that was like late in the year, and like that was probably a month and a half before I was released by BC. So what would happen if I latched onto him in February? You know, he'd have been more willing to help me than the next guy. And so there's a lot of things that you don't know until you don't know, unless you have someone who's willing to help you. And at the end of the day, man, like I say soccer is one of the most team individualistic sports.
That's interesting. You see, like you only know this because you're at that level. Mm-hmm. Like for me, I was not aware of that. I'm just looking from the outside. Mm-hmm. That's so interesting.
So at the end of the day, it's this guy has to he has to feed his family, right? And so like I use an example. Like at the club I'm at, there's 2 guys who are teammates, and they both play the same position. I think that's just like, that's so difficult for me, you know, like cheering him on but wanting to play, but wanting to beat him in training, and then you don't want to take that off the field with you because you live together, and so it's like so many different little nuances that go into it. And at the end of the day, like we all want to win, so you kind of have to find some level of being selfless, but you have to be selfish if you want to, take your opportunity. So there's like, that's really why I say soccer is one of the most team but individualistic sports, because you need the group to win, but at the same time you can have a group of guys who maybe don't like each other, but when they step on the field they respect each other and they can win. And it's very hard for people who are not in professional sports, who haven't played soccer in general, to
understand that. Now, even like myself, I have, to me, that goes against what the right things, to do should be, but now that you're making me think that is, your full-time job, like you're saying, especially, you have your family, you have kids. So now you're going to work, and maybe people don't see it that way because, it's a sport, you're an athlete. Maybe people don't kind of make that correlation with, that being your full-time job. That is feeding yourself and your family.
Exactly.
That's crazy. So would you say that was one of the biggest, adjustments that you had to make?
I think that was one of the biggest ones. Like the level itself, like because I was younger and still growing and knowledge, like the level itself wasn't crazy to me.
Because a D1 level is pretty good, right?
Yeah, I adjusted to it when I got to MLS, like preseason, I was doing well. I adjusted to it. Like learn information and stuff like that. But also one of the harder things for me was like keeping myself, because I just came straight from a season. I ended up getting hurt like halfway through the MLS season, because I'd never done a season where it's like 10 months, right? College is condensed. It's very hard on your body. You go Tuesday, Friday, and then you maybe play a Monday or Sunday or something like that. It's crazy schedule.
Yeah.
Right? You make like 3 games a week, boom, you're good. Season's done over in 4 months, and because of that, I had to get ready for combines and stuff like that. I ended up going to a few different combines. Went to one in Vegas, then I went to the MLS combine in Florida, and then after that, I got drafted. And then next thing you know, they say once you get drafted, you go and give somebody your details. They send you a flight information, and then they tell you when to be there. And then once you're there, like preseason starts, fitness testing, boom, everything. But like these season pros come in, from maybe 2-3 months of off season, and their bodies are fresh and healthy. And yeah, I'm younger, but I've just experienced a 4-month load of season. And if you don't know how to particularly like keep your body healthy and fresh, which is something I was learning still, I got hurt. And then getting hurt as a rookie that's something you don't want. Getting hurt as a rookie, as a young new kid, is not something that was beneficial to me. But it happened, and yeah.
Like in that case, though, Akeem, what can you do? Because you knew the load, but you probably you're not familiar with what you had to do in order to sustain the load without getting injured. Now with you talking about this, I'm sure that people that will listen, watch, they'll have a better idea. But I'm talking about like yourself. Like how would you know?
Well, now I know that it's very difficult to go 100% at everything.
I see.
That's what I was doing. Everything.
Younger mentality too, right?
Yeah.
Like go, I'm young.
That's what got me there, is working as hard as possible, as long as I could, for the continuous amount of reps. That's what got me there. But once you get there, it's a different load. It's a different.
You have to manage it better.
Yeah, you have to manage it better. You can't go 100%, 100% all the time. It's not at the age I was, 23 there, it was cool. I was understanding. Got hurt. I turned 29 in January, right? Like that. I can't do the same thing I did when I was in college. Like it's being honest and being realistic. You're gonna get hurt like that. And I didn't know that until I got hurt. I'm like, whoa, maybe I don't need to be flying to that tackle or reaching for that ball there. or like extending in that way. Like I didn't have to do that. Maybe this is where you start to become a seasoned pro. Now I'm looking for like ways to cheat in a sense of like, okay, I put my body in a position here. I don't have to do all that work.
So what you're saying then, that is all coming through experience. And you're smart enough that you're picking up all of that and kind of making adjustments and managing things a lot better so you can keep on going.
100%. And that's why from when I started, my goal is to play 10 years. That's my minimum, right? 10 years says a lot about the person. It says they understand how to stay relevant in the game when the young guys come in. They understand how to eat right. They understand how to communicate and, you know, not be seen as a negative, you know, person in the locker room, good teammate. There's all these things that come into it. He also knows how to take care of himself, right? And so that's why I kind of want to hit the 10-year mark, because that truly means that, you know, maybe I figured it out. Not saying I haven't yet. I still think I'm, you know, learning, and each year as much as I can, I'm learning. But from me when I was in 2019, I've learned exponential amount about being a pro and about how to, you know, manage myself, take care of myself so that, you know, these injuries don't happen. So
right. This is so cool. Now, a question for you, then, kind of going back to what you told me as soon as you started the professional journey, with that adjustment of, you know, not everyone is your friend. With that goal of 10 years, you know, playing professionally, are you gonna be the one that will be open and act as a mentor to the young? Because everything that you're telling me right now, I really hope that the younger people are watching, listening, and they're like, oh shoot, I might avoid a lot of injuries, or I might avoid, you know, awkward or negative relationships in the locker room because I'm listening from Akeem. So are you do you have that also desire to act as a mentor to the younger, you know, professional footballers coming in?
I do. But one thing I have learned, right? Because maybe I tried this a few years back, and then a player goes like, bro, don't talk to me. Like, I don't want to hear from you. And so there's a way to go about it that I'm learning. Like, it's better when someone asks you for help instead of offering it.
Got it.
Right? And so sometimes, like, whether I believe it or not, and this is why Quincy and I are best friends, like, I asked for his help. And I asked when I had no other option. Right?
Got it.
He was willing to help me. And those are good people. When you have no other option, they're willing to help you. Right? Because they don't have to help you.
That's a good point.
He didn't have to help me. Right? And so that's what I kind of want to be for younger guys. Like, I'm always open to answering questions if asked. If I see something, you know, maybe like I'll definitely, you know, chime in and something like that. But I'm not trying to preach to the young guys, because I remember
that might not work.
You think you know everything?
Exactly.
Sometimes, so the best way to understand and to learn things is to experience it. You have to experience things on your own. And so, like, I'm all for people experiencing what they need to experience. And then if they're wanting to have a conversation or wanting help or guidance, hey, I'm more than happy to help. I'm not gonna, if somebody asks me a question, I'm not gonna be like, I'm not telling you the answer. That's just not, like, there's no reason to gatekeep, because, you know, I was lucky enough to have someone like that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
No, that's cool. That's a good point. We've all been there. We know everything when we're young. That's a super cool, good point. You've talked about a lot of things that you need to do to take care of yourself, because at the end of the day, your body is the tool that you use to perform your job, right? What is a typical day like during the season? How you balance training, recovery, and personal, you know, life time, you know, because, you know, it's hard, right? You're training, you're eating well, you're strength training, conditioning, all of it. How do you balance it all?
Yeah, it's not easy, and it also depends on the team and the situation and how things are set up and stuff like that. So the club I'm at currently, it's been a bit harder because of we don't have particularly our own facility, right? And so we have to go somewhere else to the gym, and then we have to go somewhere else to go home. So it makes it actually very difficult. But I actually kind of like that it's difficult because I've had to learn how to be efficient with my time and efficient of how to do things, and be able to take care of myself on my own. I can't rely on my trainer to always keep me healthy. Like I have to understand my own body, right? No one's gonna know my body more than me. Someone's like, "Yo, you can go harder and work harder than this." I'm like, I can tell you right now, if I do this sprint, I'm probably gonna do my hamstring. Like I just know that. I know that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Point where it's gonna happen. So maybe everything not being all lavish and great has actually led to me being able to learn more about myself than I would have if I had things given to me.
Got it.
Right. And so my schedule looks like, we'll say we have training, we have to be there at 9 for 10, right? And so probably like a 25-minute drive from the house. So I wake up around 7:30, get up, hydrate when I wake up. That's one of the first things I do. Depending on the day, I'll grab some food in me, some oatmeal here at home, or grab it up at the facility. So we'll do that, make the drive over, and then do some prehab stuff. Depending on where I'm at in the year, it could be stuff for hamstrings, stuff for groins, hips is a big one. That's my kind of my lack of mobility point. So working on my hips, try to do that, every day as much as I can. If I don't, some days are like, just okay, we'll get going on the field and see and just start to warm up like that. And so, but for the most part, I'll try to do some type of activation to get my body going, to get it awake, to get it feeling like, okay, hey, we're moving, because you don't want to be the first time you start moving and get in like your body's awake is at 10 when practice starts, because at that point you're expected to perform. Like you don't get 5 minutes, 10 minutes to warm up to complete the first pass. You don't get that. And that's something I also didn't know when I was younger. Right? You don't get to slowly work into it. Well, unless you're like a seasoned 10-year guy that been around the way, you get those luxuries. But as a younger guy, not so much, right? And so, with me after that, maybe after activation, depending on how I'm feeling, maybe I'll grab a massage or some flush from the trainer, just to get my legs working. We'll head out to training, train for hour and a half. Maybe do some extras after crossing, depending on what the training was like, or just shut it down. Say it's a gym day, then we'll go back, we'll shower, have some food, wait probably 30, 40 minutes, which is not ideal, but we'll head over to the facility, and then we'll re-warm up, hit the gym again, hit the gym there. Depending on where it is in the year, we'll do power, strength, speed, depending on the year, depending on where we're at in the year. Then after that, I'll probably just do a little bit extras, some core, something like that, just to get that in there. And then I'll probably hit the tubs. I hit the cold and hot tubs.
Yeah.
I'll do alternating stuff there, 2 on, 2 1, 2 1, 2 1, finishing in cold. If I'm not doing cold tub and hot tub, I'll probably just hit the sauna, because there's a sauna there. Hit the sauna for 10 minutes. Then I'll probably shower, head home, have my second meal, I'd say, at that point in time, because I had like half of a meal before, because I didn't want to get too heavy, but you need something in you after training.
Do you do anything intra training, like you are drinking besides water, like carbohydrate or anything like that, or not much?
Not much. There's waters that we have and stuff like that, and then there's also Gatorade. But
so at that point you're pretty light.
Yeah. If when it comes to that, I'm probably doing a little bit of water. It depends on the time of the year. But me and another guy, usually the two guys that I always have a long sleeve top on, like all year round, hot, cold, different. It's just a mentality thing for me, especially when it's really hot out here in Memphis. Like, I'm super uncomfortable in this top, like when it's 98 degrees. It's like not comfortable. It's like 70% humidity. It's really bad out here, the humidity, really bad. And so that's something I wear during training. People are like, why are you not hot? I'm like, I am. Yes, I'm unbearably hot, but being uncomfortable is something that keeps helping me, stay locked in, stay focused. And so After training, I would like hydrate a lot because it's probably taking out more sweat than other guys.
Yeah.
And then after, like I said, got to the gym, recover there, head home, get some food, and then when I'm at home, probably chill and stretch, loosen up, and then I actually have a pair of like Normatecs that I purchased myself, and then I'll just pump those.
Yeah.
And then dinner, another cup of water, a few things of water throughout the day. After, and then bed probably around 10:30, like 10:45 the latest, because the more and more I notice, like the earlier I went to sleep, like the hours I was needing, I thought before, because in college I used to get like 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
Function. Doesn't work like
Doesn't work like that. And that
Like,
the more and more I research about recovery, training, and all of that stuff, they're coming out saying that sleep is the number one thing that not just athletes but people, like the average person, should be focusing on.
Like that is the biggest thing I've seen changing. Like, yes, my nutrition and stuff like that, but sleep is the biggest thing for me. And so like I didn't understand that too much over like the past like couple of years. Like I'd sleep well, but I was like not understanding why this amount of sleep would do this. So I ended up getting myself, I don't know if you know what a whoop is. Yep. So I got myself one of those.
Game changer.
I got myself one of those, analyzed the data, and I was like, okay, like for the strain and load I'm having, like now I don't use the whoop because I know exactly things are. Like I know how.
Especially because of the routine, right? Your routine doesn't change that much.
Exactly.
I see.
Especially with training sessions, stuff like that. I know Wednesdays are going to be sprint days for the hamstrings, and we're going to play 11-11. Like, I know that for a fact. Like, I bet the house on it. Like, it's going to happen. We need to get that load into the hamstrings so that, we're not getting injured on match days. And so, like, I know Tuesday night, you need to sleep, man. You're going to need to sleep.
What is a good amount for you? Sufficient? Like 8?
8's a good. 8's good for me. Like, if I'm getting more, 8 to 9, like, okay, we're living, but like sometimes that doesn't happen depending on things going on in life and stuff like that. But like 8, 7.5, we're hitting 7. We're like, okay, I'm not gonna feel the best, but I'm gonna be able to do my thing. We're getting less than that. God knows when. Like it's gonna take me a few days to catch up. My body's gonna have to catch up.
Sleep debt.
Exactly.
Yep.
You don't want to have to catch up. And then we're looking at like, hey, like okay, this happened on Wednesday night. Like you gotta double up on your load of sleep on Friday. Okay, but we're traveling. So like, and so
it piles up.
Exactly. And so what I learned is like just if you can get a consistent amount of sleep like throughout the week, like once your body and your circadian rhythm just adjust to that, like that's it. Like that's where you want to be at. Like when you're tired, go to bed. Like don't force yourself to stay up. Don't like consume blue light. So next thing you know, your quality of sleep is even worse.
Yeah.
Too. And so like that's all the things like I didn't know until I was like kind of like got the whoop and I was like playing around with different things. I'm like, man, I was on my phone for like an hour before bed. I got 8 hours, but I still don't feel good. I wonder why.
You can see the quality, right?
Exactly. And so like I learned a lot about that from like I had it for like 3 months. I was like, I need to learn about this seriously. And so after that, like I got a routine and understanding, and I was like, okay, this is cool. This is where I'm at. And then I can add different things into it if I need a lift at night or something like that, or like a little workout or add something here or there. But for the most part, it's pretty standard. I don't do anything completely crazy, but I do recognize like if I'm feeling worse, I have to do more to maintain my body. Like I have to. Like if you get hurt, like you gotta do 2 times as much to get healthy.
Yeah.
So
no, this is super cool. Like everything that you're telling me, it's kind of like I'm seeing, your as you tell me your journey, but like how you've been learning from your experience. Would you say that when it comes to nutrition, football specific training, gym, recovery, sleep, hydration, were you aware and did you know that stuff well back then when you're starting out?
Nah, like I did like, and that's like the blessing and the curse of college, right? Everything was handed to me. Like in the D1 program, they already had, hey, here's this drink that's gonna help you not cramp, or here, here, you need to drink this amount of water. There's a little sign here that says drink this amount of water. What color's your pee? And then they're giving the food that has the macronutrients you need and all the stuff that you need, and you're like, okay, cool. I don't even know what the stuff is, but I'll take it. I trust it.
I trust you. Yeah.
So, and then after that, you graduate and you're a professional. You look around like, oh, there's no food. You gotta learn how to cook. You gotta learn what to cook with. Like, oh, what do you mean all these seed oils are not good for you? Like, what do you mean? They're the cheapest things for me to buy, and to like make stuff. And like I can make like a big thing that'll last me the whole year because I want to be able to save money. But like these aren't the things you learn until you look at your body, or you learn about things online, or like you go and see someone, right? And you just pick up a little knowledge here and there. And that's what I was always doing. I was just like, I always want to try to invest in myself, like my body. So that's why I
100%.
I buy the Rapid V boosts. They were pretty expensive, like the Normatec, all the recovery equipment. I have a lot of it, and it's because like I'm willing to do what it takes to recover and like figure out how to just keep getting my body back to the spot where I feel the best and I can perform my best. And yeah.
I mean, and like you said, you talked about injuries. That's your worst enemy. And the best way to avoid, and regardless, as a footballer, the chances of getting injured are always going to be, there.
100%.
It doesn't matter how much you do to prevent injuries, the chances are always going to be there. But now, with you now learning nutrition, hydration, sleep, recovery, training, gym, now you're decreasing those chances of getting injured. So it's pretty cool. I feel like a lot of kids nowadays, they just want to play. Oh, what do you mean? Like I'm not training? I'm at the field, I'm playing, I'm practicing. But it's like, yes, but what about different types of training? What about the gym? What about your hydration? What about your sleep? What about your nutrition? So all of those things and again, imagine if you had that knowledge all the way back, even like high school days.
Oh my God.
Imagine that.
It would have been, wow. You know how far ahead I would have been?
That's crazy.
Yeah, and there's so much stuff that I learned, like, and I was able to do as a pro when I was like 23, 24, that if I was 16, imagine if I knew when I was 16. Like, God, like that would have made the world of difference, right? And like, obviously not upset, and like everything happens the way.
100%.
But like, maybe I could show a kid like, yo, this is what's worked for. Now, I don't like being like, this is how you do it. This is what's worked for me.
And right? Everyone is different too, right?
Of course, this is what's worked for me, and that's what I love. When I pick people's brain, and I learn about certain things. When they were like, this works, I'm like, no. Can you tell me what works for you? Or like, the best example is like, hey, you ask somebody for advice, right? You ask them what they would do, not what they think you should do.
You should do. That's a good one.
And that's how I communicate with people. Like, if I'm asking for advice, I start off like, hey, do you think you could tell me what you do in the situation? Like, no, this is what you should. No, don't tell me what I should do, right? Tell me if you were in my shoes, what you would do, and then from that information, I will think about what, maybe I think I want to do based off what you say, and then come up with a solution. Like, that gives me the best way to make a decision.
Definitely, right? Definitely.
And so, like now we're looking at, like me right now, the past 2 years at a regular season game, I played 64 out of 68 games.
Fine.
No injuries, 64 out of 68. Knock on wood.
No, 100%.
Last year I played 34 out of 34.
That's crazy. Like that's a lot.
To be honest, that one was a crazy year because I actually broke my wrist and I was playing with a broken wrist. But that's a whole different thing. That was on my hand, but like.
You didn't. Yeah.
but yeah, 64 out of 68 games. Like I had a little groin thing this year. That was, hindering me for a bit. Like even though I was hurt, I still was able to play with it and know my limits. So I was like, hey, I gotta take a game because like I knew if I didn't take that game and I played, it may have went. It may have went. But the younger Akeem would have been like, I have to play. If I don't play, the coach is gonna think, I'm soft or this or that. But like what people don't understand is like I'm willing to make that sacrifice for this 90 minutes for 20 more games.
Exactly. Short term versus long term.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like I talk to my friend all the time. We talk about that as a long-term winner's mindset. That's what we call it, right?
Exactly.
So having understanding, like, okay, like maybe this right here is not worth the bigger picture. And so I didn't have an idea of what a bigger picture was until I got older. So
Yeah. So now summarizing everything that we just talked about, Akeem, like for young footballers dreaming on becoming, professional footballers one day, what would be, advice you'd give them in order to achieve that goal?
So ask that question one more time. Think about.
So for young footballers, they're dreaming
Mm-hmm.
on becoming, professional footballers one day. What advice would you give them in order for them to achieve that goal?
I would give them something that I kind of live by now, and that was taught from one of my friends, and I'm like, wow, that's actually kind of how I was thinking before, but I never thought of it, right? There's something called the 3 S's of self-awareness, right? There's something called self-honesty, self-initiative, and then self-accountability, right? So self-honesty is allowing you to be able to like, yo, that was me. Am I doing enough? Like, am I really doing enough? Like, I'm looking at, like, I'm wondering why I'm complaining to my mom that I'm not playing. I'm talking to my friend about how bad the coach is and how bad the players in the team, right? This guy should never be playing over me. But are you doing enough? Are you doing as much as you can? Are you choosing to not go over to your friend's house and to stay and hit the ball against the wall 100 times? Even though it's boring and nobody wants to do it, and of course nobody wants to do the hard things, yes, but that's the difference, right? So like having the self-honesty, like, am I doing enough? Like, is it really the coach's fault I'm not playing, right? Like that's I've seen a lot in the youth programs where the parents feed into the kid's head, hey, like, yeah, this and that, and I'm lucky my parents were complete opposite. They're on the coach's side, which was like super angry about as a kid, but I understand.
That was good for you.
Like, they're right.
Yep.
They're right. And so, and then kind of the self-initiative after that, right? Taking the self-initiative to like do more. Your mom and dad shouldn't have to tell you like, hey, go outside and train. Like, hey, you need to go do this. Or, hey, you need to go do that, right? So taking the self-initiative to be like, okay, I'm going to go outside and train. I'm going to, after school, I'm going to do my homework real quick. Or do half my homework, and then I'm going to go outside for 30, 45 minutes. And, I'm going to juggle to as much as I can, right? I'm going to juggle laces. I'm going to do different combinations like that, and just have a goal for the day, and then, achieve it. Like, that's kind of the phases of the 3 S's. Then self-accountability, right? It gets to a point where everyone makes excuses, myself included, right? And one thing I'm trying to be more aware of is like not allowing myself to find a way out of a situation, right? Hey, I'm doing 10 reps. You're doing 10 reps.
You're doing 10. I see.
Doing 10 reps. Like, it's not.
There's always that little voice.
Like, hey man, it's okay if you do 8. It's okay. Hey, you don't need to do 10. You actually don't need to do 10. It's okay if you do 8, right? And that voice in your head's always right in the back of your head. It's like, hey, like, hey man, like you can just do 8 and that's cool, right? And that's where you have to be hold yourself accountable. When no one's around looking,
discipline.
When no one's watching you, when no one's being like counting your reps, when no one's counting your reps.
Exactly. You're on yourself in the dark doing it.
And that's something I really prided myself on over the past 2 years, because this club I'm at is really big on lifting and big on
great.
Basically just pushing through it and getting through it. And so like no matter what the coaches could say, they could never say that Akeem didn't work hard, Akeem didn't complete everything. I always did things. I always did every rep like someone was watching you, someone's counting your reps. That's how I think of it, right? If the coach is standing there counting your reps, are you going to do all 10 reps? I guarantee you are, right?
100%.
So to me, in my head, the coach is always watching.
Always there.
The coach is always there. The coach is always there. Or someone's always watching you do it, right? So why not just do the reps? Need to lower the weight? Cool, okay. But the reps are non-negotiable. You do the reps. Yeah, okay, you're benching or you're squatting and the weight's too heavy. Okay, move the weight down. You're on 6, move the weight down and finish the 4.
Yeah.
Like there's something about in your head about finishing the task, about doing what you said you're going to do. Right? And so that's kind of where the 3 S's lead in for me when I was a kid. Like that's what it was, but I didn't understand how to frame it and explain it until I got older. And it was kind of like it was showed to me and taught to me what the 3 S's were: self-initiative, self-honesty, self-initiative, self-accountability. Right? And so I think that's a big thing. Like that kind of encompasses a lot of things for players. Like you got to have you have to have your own intrinsic vibe. I mean, intrinsic, like kind of push and motivation, right? Your mom shouldn't have to tell you to do these things. Okay, yeah, sometimes she does, okay, no problem. But like holding yourself to a higher standard than anyone else could, that was something I did as a kid. Like the coaches always told me, and looking back, like they always try to make it a negative, but it was a positive. You're way too hard on yourself. That's great. Because guess what? That means you guys can never be as hard on me as I am to myself. Okay, you're always so hard on yourself. Yeah, man, because I want to get better. I want to win. Like
100%.
And I still have that to this day. And so, like, whether people wanted to shape it into a negative thing, I think it was always a positive thing. Obviously, there's an extreme of like, yeah, you're just angry. No, it wasn't that. But it was like, hey, like, we lost the game. I wasn't going to speak to anyone until I figured out what happened or like why we lost, right? And so, yeah, I think if anything to say to the kids is to have a look at yourself, which is self-honesty, and see where you're at in the process. That's the first step, right? And the rest is self-awareness, because self-awareness is the biggest thing. That's the first, right? And then after you like look and try to figure out what the problem is, taking initiative to try to fix the problem, like come up with a solution, right? And then once you come up with a solution, you don't make an excuse for the solution. You follow through, and then you be consistent, and you continue to do that over and over and over again. Then you'll look up and be like, dang, I'm so far away from that old guy I was, or
yes.
person I was. Like, that's not who I am anymore. Like, and then at that point, like, you surround yourself with people who are just like you.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I did.
Yeah, no, that's funny that you're saying that. As you're saying that, I know that I asked the question as an advice for the younger footballers trying to achieve the professional goal. But man, as you're saying it goes for everything. It goes for, at work, relationship, kids, anything. Like it's lifting, because you have that little voice that's always saying, don't do 10, do 8, like you said. Don't do 8, do 6. Don't do 6, do 4. Yeah, no, this is really good advice. This is really good advice. And I hope that, a lot of people are watching and listening and are paying attention to those things. And even from, the entire journey that you've talked about, because there's a lot of things to learn, and maybe, will help, the players at 15, 16 years old, so they don't go through the same, hardships, I would say, even though they're good, you learn from experience, but you can kind of, like you said, cheat and find ways that you don't need, there's not that need to always be that hard. And yeah, no, that's good. I mean, even like myself with my career, me trying also, because I always had that dream as well, trying to become a professional soccer player. But now I look back, I did not do nearly enough to achieve that. I didn't have the understanding of, proper diet, proper training, sleep, hydration, gym. such as that, because like you said, the load, you did get injured, but the load was too much and I wasn't taking care of myself. That led me to, tear an ACL once, tear an ACL twice, back to back. And now I look back, I'm like, yeah, if I knew the things that I know now back then, things could have been, a lot different. But again, I'm grateful, for the things that happened to me, because that shaped, the person I am nowadays. And as you're saying, your journey has shaped you, or the person that you are nowadays. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So now I'm going to bring back something. So looking back on your early days with teams like, Lane United, one of the greatest things about, playing for Lane United, speaking for myself, was to, meet the people that I met. I don't care about, the league, the football. I do care about those things, but the relationships, the people that I met, I mean, such as yourself, that's where we met each other. So that I'm extremely grateful for that opportunity that they gave us. What were some of the most memorable moments that shaped your career, looking back at, Lane United FC during those summers?
No, I agree with you, man. I think meeting the people I met, and like, I can't speak for other PDL teams, but the people I met were good people, right? Like, it's very hard to find a group of guys, and a group of people who, were as welcoming as it felt, when we got to Lane. And so, also with that, it also showed me, like, yo, there's a lot of good players in the country. There's a lot of good players playing at different levels. Or like, you hear like, oh, this guy's playing at this college. Like, what do you mean he's at this college?
You're right. You're right. That's a good point.
Like, why is this guy playing at this college? Like, what are you talking about? Like, this guy is like, no respect. Like, what? Like, this guy is better than people are even thinking or talking about. And so, like, that, it showed me like how perception was not reality of some certain players or certain things, right? Because maybe you heard about a player, you come in, you're like, that guy is way better than you guys think he is. So like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then like adding to that, like, you learn. You also have those relationships. Like, when you go into the season, you see these guys and you keep up with them, and you see them, you play against them, right? And then like Hassan and I end up getting drafted together. We went to the combine together. We're in the same team.
That's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. And so it's like, it shows you how small the football world is. But I think the biggest thing for me was like seeing the level of other guys and understanding like someone could be playing D2, NAIA, right? JUCO, and they're ballers. But people just assume these levels aren't good. Which is just like not true.
That's a good point that you're saying there. The thing is though, look how crazy that is. The divisions themselves, they don't matter that much, right? The individual, yeah, you can find a lot of individuals in those divisions. They're like better than, let's say, 30% of the players playing at D1. But what I think that it's maybe a flaw in the system is that the players that are playing D2, D3, JUCO, and AIA, they don't have the same chances of becoming a professional player, because the spotlight is not there. The spotlight is at the D1s. So it's an interesting thing. It's an interesting thing.
No, I really thought that like that, and that's why I kind of liked PDL, because I thought it was able to shine light. Say a guy from my school, Creighton, was like a big player, right? And then playing Lane United against Portland Timbers 2, right? The PDL to the under 23 team, and one of the coaches so happens to be like a college coach on the Portland staff, right? And so one of the guys on our team plays well. And next thing you know, like, he's getting talked to about like, yo, what's going on? Like, where are you at? And like, what college are you at? And stuff like that. And so, like, I think PDL did a good job of like being able to put the spotlight on players who maybe not like weren't able to get that spotlight because of where they're playing at.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it helped like these players doing well and probably being even the best players on their team amongst other D1 players that were supposed to be, top players like in the ACC or the Big East or the Big Ten, and so that's what I really liked. I really enjoyed that, like seeing players who in a sense were like not highly touted because of where they're playing at, getting the spotlight in PDL and then playing with them and like being like, yo, bro, you need to transfer. Like you need to where you're at, you need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so that was like super cool to me. And I think PDL did a good job with that.
Yeah, no, I really, like I said, I really appreciate that experience in terms of like meeting and seeing different levels, meeting people like yourself, like many others as well. And seeing, the cool thing is now seeing, everyone doing well in their own careers, so most of you like yourself did, become a professional player, but like other people are also doing different things and they're very successful in their careers too. That makes me happy, that just shoot. Yeah, that makes me very happy. Let's talk about a little bit of sacrifices that you had to make. What have been some of the biggest sacrifices you've made, both personally and professionally?
I think the first one would be like was friendships and like being comfortable, right? And then I can like that was from youth, and then I'll even go one step further to like as now that I'm a pro, right? And so in the youth, like I went all the way to boarding school, like in Minnesota, right? And so my parents weren't gonna like people's misconception about boarding schools. Oh, your parents will love you. They send you that. No. Like if I said, "Hey, mom, I don't want to go," I wouldn't have went, right? And so ultimately, that was like my choice, and that put me in a whole different time zone, literally time zone, and just city, culture, just like friends. There's no family. Like it was just a completely different situation, and like your parents drop you off, then they leave. That's it. They don't stay. Like, and so like being uncomfortable is something that I think a lot of people don't like, and that's understandable. Like it is understandable, but I think that was something that that has helped me, grow as a person, as a player, and like I think, yeah, you have to sacrifice being comfortable to kind of progress forward in whatever you're doing in life, right? But particularly for me, it helped me in soccer. And then I'll go even one step further of being uncomfortable. Like not many people know, but like in 6 years, I've been on 7 different teams as a professional soccer player. That's like unheard of, if I'm being honest. Right? So like,
well, I want to touch on that after you're done. I want to touch on that.
So and with that, it's like maybe during the year, like I'm not playing or and the club can't cut my contract because it's a guaranteed contract. They can't send me anywhere unless I say I want to go somewhere. So basically, I can just sit there and collect my money, be comfortable, collect my money, and just be there. But with me, I've always wanted to play. I always want to play, and I want to win. And so if I'm not playing, like I want to be in a situation where I'm able to do that. Not to say that the team I was on, like I gave it like 6 months. That's probably like 3 months longer than some people made. I tried to see it all the way out. I exhausted all kind of avenues of how to play or how to get on the field until it was made known that, hey, you're not going to play here. Cool. Like I'm not going to play here, then I'm not going to stay here and be a problem. So I middle of the year packed up my stuff and went to a different team. And like that's not a comfortable thing to do. Like that's very difficult because it's everything you've known for I was a year and a half there at the team, and packed up and moved from California to Southern Texas. Like this was like a boom, like that. Like you get the contract done on Thursday, you're there Sunday type situation.
That's crazy.
You figure out how your car's there. All your stuff is in your old location. You can either choose to sell it or try to bring it or something of that sort. So things turn around quickly, and I was like, I'm willing to be uncomfortable so that I have an opportunity to play. An opportunity to play allows me to be able to win, and like that, and that's what I really want to do. You start winning, you also have the ability to move up to a higher level, get paid more, all these things that come with it, right? And so that's what I was always been willing to do, is kind of just put myself in positions and not be complacent. That's the biggest thing.
I see.
Like, right, not be complacent. That was one of the biggest sacrifices for me. And so just being uncomfortable, being comfortable was not something I wanted to be. And I realized, like, hey, like, I'm better off not being super comfortable everywhere. So
Yeah, no, that's I don't know. It might be, now that I'm thinking about, people that I've met, and you can see the difference from people that they choose to be and stay comfortable versus the ones that choose being uncomfortable. It feels like the motivation is always there for the people that choose to be uncomfortable. They're always willing to do more. It doesn't matter what happens, they will keep on trying, and now going back to what you said, it was 6 years and 7 different teams.
Yeah, 6 years, 17.
So you see, like, so look at you. Like, you could have chosen to stay comfortable, and like you said, just sit back and collect your paycheck and be fine with it. But are you fulfilling your dreams? Are you, satisfying, that dream of, yeah, you became a professional footballer, but are you actually playing? Are you actually bringing any value to the team? Are you actually, making a difference? Are you playing? Are you winning? If you chose to be comfortable, that wouldn't have happened. So 6 years, 7 teams. Tell me that transition. So how does that work? Is that like you choose to go to a different teams, or you have, like, your manager is managing all of that, or the team is actually sending you to a different team? How does that work?
So we'll start from the beginning, from 2019. Got drafted for DC, right? DC United. And I was there for probably 6-7 months. And during that time there, I was with DC, and sometimes I'd go on loan with the feeder team in the USL, the league I'm in now. So the MLS and USL had kind of a partnership with the team, with Loudoun United. So that was technically 2 different teams, because they had their own players signed that were not DC United players, right? So we go on loan. So I train all week, Monday to Friday, and then I go and travel with the team that I've never really trained with or played with, and I go play matches with them on Saturday. And then fly or go travel back wherever, and then be ready for training on Monday with DC United. And so
you, like, pretty much you played with them but didn't train with them.
Exactly, which was difficult. Like, there was even one day where it was so hard. I actually did a full training session with DC, and they sent me over, like, right across the fence to go train with the second team. I trained 2 sessions back to back.
Oh my God!
It was like unheard of. It was like actually unbelievable. Like, at the time, I was like, they really just made me train again. Like, I've never seen it before in my life. Like, one of the players in the locker room was like, "Bro, where you been?" I'm like, "I just trained with Loudoun too." And they're like, "Oh, we just finished training." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Yeah, just go and train with the other team too."
Oh my God!
And so yeah, that, like, happened, and then near July, like I said, I got hurt. June, like late June, I got hurt, and so at that time, I had a contract that is technically called semi-guaranteed. So technically, it was a 6-month contract that goes fully guaranteed if the club doesn't contact you, right? If the club doesn't contact you, your contract goes for the full 12 months. But because I got hurt, and I was, like, technically, because there's all these technicalities of how roster spots work, I was on a senior roster spot, so that means I was being paid more than someone who was on a reserve roster spot who's making less money. Like, those are usually younger guys, which is, I could have qualified for that at the time, but that's just not how it worked out. I signed a senior spot, which cost the club more money.
Good for you. Good for you. Yeah.
Yes, but looking back now with the agent I had then, like, I would rather take a reserve spot and had a year to show and develop and prove myself than 6 months and making more money. You know what I'm saying? And so it came to a point where I was hurt, and they extended my semi-guarantee date. They gave me a month extension of, like, so they can make a decision in a month after I got back healthy. So you can only imagine when you get sat down the general manager at the age 23 and they're like, hey, like, yeah, this is what's happening. And so, like, you know, and obviously weighed on me while playing. I tried the best I could. I played the best I could, but in their mind, they already kind of made up that they're going to let me go. And so they let me go in late July. And at the time, they're like, hey, you know, I remember this distinctively. Like they said to me, like, hey, like, you know, wish we keep you on, but you know, you can sign you to a contract to Loudon full time, you know, and you can, you know, earn the right to train with the first team again and come back. And I was like, respectfully, no, thank you. So, yeah, no, thank you. So I was released, and this is why I say the soccer world's so small. Like the assistant coach, who I didn't know liked me, he just yelled at me, never really spoke to me. He made a phone call for me and called one of the coaches in the USL. And next thing you know, I got a phone call. So I got released on a Wednesday. I got a phone call on like Friday from Birmingham Legion, and they're like, "Hey, we're struggling right now. We need an outside back. Like, you know, Chad, who was the coach at the time, assistant coach, was like, hey, he says good things about you. Like, you want to come?" I'm like, yes. Oh, yeah, I need a job. Yes. Yeah, no, 100%. Cool.
Yeah.
And so at the time I was living at home in DC because I'm from Virginia. And so like that was a whole big thing, you know, coming back home and this and that. I went from like it being the worst day of my life, like getting released, to 3 days later, basically getting a contract. And so that was 3 teams in 1 year.
Boom. It's crazy.
3 teams in 1 year, my first year. And then after that, they asked me if I wanted to come back, and I told them I wanted to try to get back to MLS, and they didn't like that, and so we stopped negotiations. I played well in the playoffs that year against one team. We knocked them out, and ended up signing for that team the next year after that.
Oh wow!
So it was North Carolina. Ended up signing for North Carolina. Then we had that year's COVID 2020, and the club decided like to almost cease operations. So they literally went down to League One, and so everyone's options and contracts were cut. And they're like, hey, you can decide to go down to the lower level with us, or you can find a new team. And I was like, I'm probably gonna go find a new team. And so after that, I signed a 2-year deal with Oakland. So I moved from all the way in the East Coast, North Carolina, all the way to the West Coast in Oakland, California, just for a new opportunity and a new challenge. Had a great time there. The first year in existence, the club in the U.S. Championship made the playoffs. I was the captain, or one of the captains of the team. It was great. Then a new coach came in the second year, and you know, players don't understand this enough. Like, you can be a good guy, a good player, but if you're not the coach's player, one of the coach's players, it may not work out. And so this is the story I was mentioning before. It took me 6 months of like being led on, being say, hey, like, you know, just stay on board, being managed. And my agent was like, hey, like, let's just get out of here. I'm like, no, I'm going to exhaust this to the end. No, I'm going to like try to like get into the squad. Like, not going to happen. And so it didn't work. And then next thing you know, like, I told the club, I was like, hey, I want to leave. And I was like, I love the club here. I love everything about the club, but I'm not willing to stay here and just be a cheerleader, and not even play. Because at the time, I was healthy and I was in the stands. I went from being the captain and one of the faces of the club to being in the stands for about 4 months. Not even rostered, not even dressed.
Yeah.
So there was a lot going on there, but like you said before, you said something about always being ready and staying ready. So at that time, I frustrated people for sure, but they couldn't be mad about it because I would lift before our team lifts. I do my own lift, finish my lift and say, Akeem, what are you doing? We have a lift. I said, I know, I'm going to do that too. I do my lift. I lift with the team, train, and then do finishing, crossing, or fitness after. They're like, what is this guy on? Because I had to supplement, because I wasn't playing. So I had to supplement.
Right.
And so I was doing that, preparing. And then once I told the general manager I didn't want to leave, they're like, okay, cool. I ended up connecting with another coach on like literally, like I was telling you, like on a Thursday, and the agreement was signed on Sunday for me to move to the new team, which is all the way down in Southern Texas. So I did that. Was down there for like 3-4 months. We made the playoffs again. They're in last place when I got there. Me and a few guys got there, and we helped, turn around the season. And that was team 6. And then I was thinking about going back, but it just didn't work out. And so I ended up signing here at Memphis 901. And yeah, this was my second year. And so
captain now, huh?
Yeah. So, yeah, this was
What a crazy
seven.
journey. That's insane.
Yeah.
So what are the plans? What are the plans? Can you say? Can you know, open up and say,
I can
or?
say I'm going to a new team. So there's gonna be eight in 7 years.
Okay. Is like
club.
people know it's or
Yeah, people know I'm going to a new club, but they don't know where. Most of them don't know where yet.
okay, we don't need to say it here. We'll see.
You'll see.
We'll see.
I might even tell you off of this, but
Yeah.
yeah, that's happening. It's exciting. Once again, a fresh new start, so I have to do it all over again.
Yeah, it's within you. You see, like it's from everything that I've heard so far. It's that's why I asked in the beginning, like, where does that come from? You know, it's a lot easier to do what's not uncomfortable. And like year after year, you're always choosing to be uncomfortable, trying to achieve more and more and more and more and better. So that's pretty cool, you know, like I don't think some people probably are born that way, but I think you can train yourself to also be that way as well, you know, because I keep thinking about kids, you know, especially nowadays. I feel like the give up mentality or not even trying mentality or that's impossible mentality is what they bring up first. It's like, have you tried it? You know, like,
yeah. Have you tried to train like specifically on something? Have you tried to pinpoint why you're not playing? Like have you tried to think about that, or it's just like I'm not playing? It's just like I'm done. Like
yeah,
I'm never gonna be a pro.
like I clearly there are people right now that they're pro, like they're playing professional football. So that already tells you that it is possible. Don't tell me that it's impossible for you, because it's not. Clearly there are people doing it. So that was like from everything that I've been, you know, since the start of the conversation is that, you know, seeking the uncomfortable in order to push yourself forward, you know, not staying stagnant and choosing to be that way, you know. Change doesn't happen that way. The same, you know, it's a great analogy is like the gym, you know, since, you know, now I play City League, Latino League just to keep myself fit. Yeah. But the gym has taught me so much, because without being uncomfortable, without that extra rep, there's no adaptation, there's no change. But if you decide to stay uncomfortable, to go, okay, I'm going to do 10 reps, I do 10, sometimes do 11, 12, 13. I push on the weight. Yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable the next day. It is uncomfortable at the moment, but the next day I'm going to get sore. The second day I'm going to get even more sore. But then there's the adaptation. And then over time, you see the difference. You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, what happened? But if I decided to do, you know, the 2-pound weight, doing 2 repetitions, nothing would have happened. You know?
I 100% agree with that. It's just like, yeah, knowing your limit and then seeing if you can go above it. You don't want to go below it in the sense of like selling yourself short. You know, like I always believe you owe it to yourself.
100%.
You owe it to yourself to give it your all. Like I want to be able to look at myself in the mirror after a game, after a training session, and be like, yo, like, and this I do. I'm like, yo, you just weren't there today. You weren't good enough. Like, just like that's the self-talk in my head. I'm like, yo, you just weren't there today. And like it happens, but just like it is in the days, like, yo, you had a good day. It was a good day,
right?
And that's from all the work that you did in December when no one was watching, when you didn't want to run outside and it's freezing cold, and your mom's on the couch, hot chocolate, and everyone's watching movies, and they're like, oh, but it's Christmas or it's Thanksgiving. It's like, okay, like I have to do this, because once again, I already said I was going to do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do it.
Yep. No, it is crazy. I always say the impossible word for me is like it just annoys me, because you know I always say this: the most impossible thing to do, we've all done it. It should be born as a human being. We've won the lottery, you know. Now it's totally up to us to maximize, you know, this existence here, whatever you're trying to do with your life. But in this case, which we're trying to do is to tell the young generation, guys, girls, like, it is possible. It is possible.
No, I 100% agree. And that's something that, what you just mentioned about being born, it just also brings me to something that also helped me, right? Because like no matter what situation I'm in, I haven't been on the best team, the best clubs that have the most resources, right? But no matter what, I'm always grateful. I have an overwhelming amount of gratitude, right? Because I could not be playing professional soccer. Like if we're being 100%, right? The career could end. Like I could have never even started. And like every day, if I hear a guy complain like, "Oh, what are we doing?" Like, yo, there's some guy on that other team that has lost 20 games this year who would die, give his left leg to be on our team right now. Or even I'll go even one step further. A guy who's working hard right now, who was supposed to be on our team but got overlooked, or something happened out of a contract, right? So like you have a contract, but we'll start there. Maybe not the money you want, but you have a contract, right? So you have a chance, right?
Exactly.
So let's be grateful for the chance that we have today, because there could be somebody in the office who hates their job right now, right? And has to sit there for from 9 to 5 complaining about their life. There's nothing we should be complaining about. There's nothing we should be complaining about. Like that's where I'm at with like the gratitude of what I'm able to do, the people I'm around, the things the game have brought me, the connections, the people I've learned from, will learn from, helped, will help, And so gratitude is also a big thing, Obviously being self-aware and willing to push yourself, but also be grateful for what you have. So like we're born as humans. That's something we should be grateful for. At the same time, we have the luxury over here in the Western world to be able to get on this call and have this conversation. So like that's a perspective change that I had after a few years of playing. I'm like, I think it really hit me after I lost my job. And it was only a very short time, but I was like, wow, like I felt an overwhelming amount of shame because I literally had to pack up my stuff in a trash bag and go to my parents' house. I had my little brother, my mom, my dad, my grandma at the house. Like that was one of the most embarrassing things for me to be like, I don't have a job. Like I've been released from my job, like, and having a good support system, like one of the best things. And I haven't told the story about my mom the next day signed me up for like a personal trainer workout. I was so mad. I was like, but she's like, yeah, you're not going to wallow in this. 2 days later, 3 days later, I had a contract. And so it's just, yeah, being grateful for being able to have a job. Because I felt what it's like to do and have everything that you wanted come true. And then 6 to 7 months later, it just be gone. It's like that. You didn't have the choice.
Yeah.
You had the choice for you. And so, yeah, that's why I'm super grateful to be able to do what I do. Be able to have a contract for more than 1 year where I'm guaranteed. I know I have work and I'm able to, build on what I'm doing outside of soccer and continue just to grow, And so, yeah, man, that's where I'm at.
No, that's awesome. That's great. Akeem, we asked this question to every podcast guest that we have.
Okay.
So can you tell us a game changer moment in your life and why?
A game changer moment in my life and why? I think I got it. Like, I think the moment that changed everything for me is when I broke my ankle when I was a kid, and I was in high school. I broke my ankle. I was thousands of miles away from home. Like my mom came for when I had the surgery, stayed for a day, and then left. And like I felt myself go into a hole of just sadness and despair and like feeling sorry for myself. And I don't like that feeling. It just doesn't feel good, And so being able to see what I was made out of at a young age was so cool to look back and reflect on. I think that's one of the things that kind of helps me, put myself in a situation now where I'm like always trying to, push the limit and just be positive, because like that's something like I had to do. Like that, if I was negative, then I probably wouldn't be a pro, because I would have came back from injury been super scared of coming back, and not to say I wasn't scared, right? But like
Part of it.
it's part of it. It's part of the game. And like because of that injury led to me having to take an extra year, me having to bet on myself to go NAI, to prove myself, be able to go to Creighton, and then after that, go to Creighton was very good. And then I actually broke my foot, so I finished one of my years there. And then the biggest thing, and I mentioned Johnny Torres, is like they at Creighton were like, hey, you're gonna have to play left back now because we're bringing it right back. I'm like, wait, what? Okay, like, sure. Like, okay. Like 3 years before that, I just made the change from winger to outside back. And so, boom, make the change to outside back. And then 2-3 years later, I'm being told, hey, you're going to go left back because we think you can figure it out. I was like, okay. And because I play left back is literally, I'll attest to one of the reasons that I'm able to be adaptable in any situation and versatile, because I've been able to play on multiple teams and be able to play on the left and right side. And that's been a valuable thing. That was one of the biggest things that was mentioned when I got drafted. And all this stems from that injury of
That's crazy.
how I reacted from the injury and how the support system around me is like, hey, like, no, you're not going to do this. Come outside. Like, we're going to like get some sun. You're going to rehab. You're going to push yourself. And that's kind of, that led me and changed I think the trajectory of my life. Because next thing you know, I could have been at the Wake Forest or the UCLA and been pampered and this and that and not known what it takes to struggle and to, like, you know, have to bet on yourself and push beyond your limits. And so I think that was the biggest, I think that shifted everything for me mentally.
Yeah, Jesus, man. Like, look, since the injury, then let's go back to the injury. There were so many times that in order for, like, yes, you became a professional footballer, but look at the amount of times that life kind of tried, you know, to kind of deviate yourself from achieving that.
So, like, looking back at it, like, that's such a good way of putting it. Like, life was just
like, it's literally like
throwing me off, like, hey, like, it's not gonna happen, and then I'm like just holding it back. I'm just like, no, it's not gonna happen. Like, it has like it's a sliver now, and I'm like, let me open the gap back up. Right?
It almost feels like, right? Yeah. Like, it almost feels like that life was leading you to becoming like comfortable, you know, like, nah, like, go this way here. It's gonna be a little bit easier for you. And you're like, you know what? Screw that. I'm gonna choose being uncomfortable. And also, you just said at the end, the gratitude part of it, you know, like, look, all of these times that life could have thrown you to like a complete different, like, who knows, like, so many things that you could have done differently. But, you know, look, being grateful for all these little things that have happened to now you achieving your end goal. I know that it goes much more than that now that you're trying to play. Okay, you made it, professional footballer. Yeah, I signed with a professional team. I've been playing, you know, at the professional level for 6 years, 7 teams, now soon to be 8. And then you extended that goal now to, okay, I want to do 10 years of this. And look, like, the little things that you've been adjusting yourself in order to achieve that 10-year goal, going back to the diet, the gym, hydration, sleep, training, not being that young kid trying to go 100%, you know, all the time. You kind of like managing yourself now a lot better. It's insane. You know, it's insane, like, how many times you could have chosen to go to a different path and yourself, who knows what, you know, your mindset, the way you're raised, the way your parents kind of raised you, the education that you have, the grit, you know, like, to maintaining yourself. Like, okay, I want to become a professional footballer, and that it doesn't matter what happens. That's what I'm going to be doing. Like, that's beautiful. That's crazy.
That's I usually try to take some time to reflect and stuff like that, like, after every year. But like being able to talk with you about the past this in depth, like, you're right. I just don't even. Wow, I never really thought about it like that. Like, wow, it's just like, hey, the injury means that, like, your percentage of, like, being able to use that ankle, like, to the highest of quality and all that stuff, that's gonna lower like this much. and then you break your foot, and then you're gonna have pains when you're older. And then I'm just like, yeah, everything just started shifting this way. And I'm like, no, got to Creighton, wasn't doing well academically, wasn't doing well soccer. They were like, hey, why do we even have you transfer in here? Like, we can find you a better situation. This is my first semester there. Like, we can find you a better situation if this doesn't work out. This is before a training session, they say that.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh my God, like I felt like a shell for like a week. And then I got to a point, I'm like, yo, like, what?
Yeah.
Like you have literally nothing to lose. Yeah, you have to school, like you have nothing to lose, right? Like, come on, like there's nothing to lose here. And then you go one step further to when I got to the combine and why I did so well. Like, yeah, I was pretty high up in the rankings. I'd say top 50 in the country to make the combine. But when I got there, I remember how much fun I was having and how happy I was to be there, because I'm never going to experience that again ever in my life. And people saw me like, they're like, bro, what's wrong with this guy? I'm like, bro, like, why are you guys so nervous? Like, this is like we're never gonna be able to do this again. Like, we're never gonna be able to do this again. Like, don't let this crumble you. And like, I remember talking to Hassani about that way back. And look at the career he's had. He's had a great time in Minnesota.
My God.
He's doing well.
My God.
Baby girl life out there. Like, love the guy. Still talk to him. But like, I remember like just one around the team is talking about like, yeah, it's like, bro, when the Ritz-Carlton, when are you gonna be in the Ritz-Carlton ever again? Like, they're putting some of the Ritz-Carlton for free. Like, this, like, we're amongst the best players in the country. Like, we're never gonna be able to do this again, right? And so because of that, next thing you know, I went from being like top 25. I was drafted 14th overall. Like, just from just having a good combine. And I attest that to like that moment I had before when I was like told like, hey, like, either you're gonna figure it out or you're not. And then we go one step further back of like my mentality to be able to bet on myself to get there is because I went through the injury I went through and the struggle I went through. Exactly. And so it all links to the moment of like, you know, who I am now and who I want to be. And, you know, I think to answer your question, I felt in full circle. Like, I think the game-changing moment was when I had my injury and even more importantly, how I reacted after I got the
right
injury. So,
hey, the best of luck to you. Okay,
appreciate it.
I especially having this conversation with you right now, I know for sure that you're gonna achieve the 10-year goal of playing professionally, and hopefully even more than that, because you're gonna be 33 at that point, right? 33 years.
Yeah.
I'm sure you can push, 34, 35. And hey, like, the best of luck. Keep doing what you're doing. And one of the things that I learned from today is the mindset that you have. Like, I'm definitely going to take, a lot of things from what we talked about today and kind of implement that in my life. Now having a kid, now with my wife. Not just, this has been specifically for, young footballers and footballers in general, but people can listen, can watch this and implement everything that we told us into their personal lives, and that's what I'm going to do. So I appreciate you for being part of this, for coming on and being a guest of the FC Game Changer podcast and YouTube channel. And thank you.
No, man, thank you for getting me on here. I know it took some time, but I hope it was worth it.
Totally, 100%, man.
Reconnect with you, man. No, it's been great to talk about this, and you're a great host, and I know you're building something great over there, and I'm a fan. So
sweet, oh my. Likewise, you know that. Likewise, you know that.
So I appreciate you, man. I really do.
Cool. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please go ahead, help us out, subscribe down below, and also like the video. I'll catch you soon. Peace.